גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוניה עם סגולה
could not be mistaken when I saw you standing there on that hill outside Jerusalem. I could see your heart was breaking as the tears ran down your face for the restoration of Israel. I could only feel frustration, sadness in my heart arise, that I cannot understand the tears you cry. Though I fail to share your sorrows, still I long to taste your tears for the restoration of Israel. Help me, Lord, to weep the tears you weep. Help me, Lord, to feel the love you feel. Break my heart so more your burden share for the restoration of Israel. Lord, I pray that you will hear me. Bend your ear to this my cry, to make my heart like yours.
Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see you here for our Yizkor service. After the end of the Holocaust, there was a cry that went out called Zachor. Remember, we must never forget. And related to the word Zachor, meaning remember, or Zachrenu, we remember, is Yizkor. Yizkor means we shall remember. And we humans have the wonderful capacity to be able to reflect back and remember the beauty of the past and people who are no longer with us physically, but are very much a part of us spiritually and emotionally. And so at this time, as a community, we gather together to remember those who came before us, upon whose shoulders we stand, and without whom we would be nothing. So I thank you for coming to join with us for this important Yizkor observance and closing service. Now, someone came up to me before we started and said, "Rabbi, where's everybody meeting afterwards? Is there a place that we're all going for Break the Fast?" This year, Va-Dor did not arrange anything for Break the Fast. But I do have a suggestion. If you have nowhere to go for Break the Fast, perhaps you could gather at the exit and not run off. Maybe meet a new person, a friend that you haven't met yet, and congregate and see if we might be able to venture forth in various groups, or one big group, in order to break the fast. Today, we honor the memory and heroism of first responders to the victims of Surfside, Haiti, Afghanistan, Hurricane Ida, forest fires and floods, nurses and doctors, and so many others who minister to those afflicted with COVID-19, and so many unnamed heroes who have given their lives seeking to preserve our freedom, our health, and our way of life in the face of a global pandemic of disease, ignorance, and intolerance and arrogance. We also mourn the victims of religious strife and violence and those who seek to keep us safe from terrorism and violent attack. May their courage inspire our nation to stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel, who has successfully fought terrorism since before its inception, over 70 years ago, and may we root out the causes of terrorism and violence with education, love, and rational faith. I would like to refer everyone to the booklets that we have, which you will be looking at when it comes time to remember our loved ones, and we have listed the names of people in here as well. I want to thank all of those who contributed to this booklet, and I also want to thank two friends of mine. In my other life, I happen to be an attorney, and one of my colleagues who not only practices law but also gives back to the community and makes quite a few charitable donations, including some our way, is Craig Goldenfarb. And he was kind enough to support this Yizkor service. And you can see his contact information in the beginning. And I'll mention someone else, Joe Rubin, who's been a friend of mine and a friend of my father's, Rabbi Sam Silver, for a very long time, and who's been very generous and kind to me and to congregation Va-Dor, and Neil Hornfeld also, who's been a friend of mine for a long time and a really great guy. And I'm thrilled that they decided that they wanted to also support us and support this service. We read responsively. If the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements. Could our answer be in doubt? Let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth. The eye is never satisfied with seeing. Endless are the desires of the heart. Like Moses, we behold the promised land from afar, but will not enter. We die wanting more of life. For each of us, our time on this earth is too short. Prosperous and needy, strong and infirm, learned and unlettered, all are equal in death. The grave levels all distinctions and brings kinship to all humanity. Source of life, at this hour of memorial, we recall with grief all those who have perished through the cruelty of the oppressor, victims of hate. Their deaths have brought darkness to the human soul. They lie in nameless graves in far-off forests, lonely fields, and among the rubble of destruction. And yet they shall not be forgotten. We take them into our hearts and give them a place beside the cherished memories of our own loved ones. They become ours. Thus will their memory become an enduring blessing of compassion. Remember those who have died in years past and our loved ones whom death has taken from our midst this year. Taking these dear ones into our hearts with all our beloved, we recall each with reverence. We now have a beautiful song which is called We Remember Them. We thank cantorial soloist Rose Lopater and also pianist Lonnie White.
When we
think everyone has already turned off their cell phone. Feel free to turn on your soul phone to connect with your soul. And where you see the bold writing, please read with me. Yizkor is an opportunity to remember those people in our lives who are no longer alive. To remember the lessons that they taught us by word and by deed. To mourn their passing and to weep for their absence. To be thankful that they were part of our lives. To focus on the bonds that continue to join us. To move closer to letting go of those loose ends. To remind ourselves that sometimes people die tragically before their time. To value our own lives and to resolve to use our time wisely. We now have the Shaviti. I have set eternity in mind at the sacred hour. Thus I give thanks for every precious moment of life I have been granted. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. Let me make the most out of this precious gift of life and be worthy of its blessings.
Shiviti Adonai, denegdi tamid ki mimini bolemot. Lachen samak libi, balage kavodi, af besari, ishkon lavetak. Ki lo
We now continue with an updated modern version which I have written of the 23rd Psalm. The world is my treasure, I shall not want. I give thanks for green pastures that provide our daily bread. I rejoice in the sacred waters of ocean, rivers, lakes, and streams, the sources of life. May we restore their purity for the earth's sake. I seek the spiritual path and the peace of a good name. Yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of mortality, I shall fear no evil, for reason and love they comfort me, and I have no need of false gods. My enemies are no more when I make them my friends. My mind is anointed with reason. My Yiddish cup runneth over with emet, and my heart rejoices with tzedek. Surely I shall pursue kindness and mercy all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the abode of love and peace forever. Like Many of you, I can remember where I was when I was told that Israel was attacked on Yom Kippur. And I can remember listening to the radio and watching TV with trepidation as I thought how horrific it was that the Jews in Israel had to fight once again for their survival. I know all of you have memories, many that go back way before my time, about all the valiant soldiers who fought bravely for Israel. For many of us, it's just a vision on the TV, or a word on the radio, or a message coming through in the newspaper. But today, we give thanks for the courage of the fighting Jews who don't like to fight, but when forced to do so, do it in an incredible fashion so that the state of Israel can continue in our lifetime and bring blessings. We are very, very fortunate to have one of those brave IDF soldiers, a scholar in his own right, Tzachi Gadish. He is going to read for us or share with us a prayer for those valiant Israeli soldiers. Come on up, Tzachi.
"48 years ago was a Yom Kippur War. As we see it here, 7 hours later is Israel with attack by the Syrian and Egyptian. I was a young captain at the time in the Sinai, and luckily we overcame against all odds with the help of America in the second week, bringing a big flotilla and big Galaxy C-5, bringing us tanks, missiles, anti-tank missiles, etc. Israel, as of today, lost close to 24,000 people for 80 years, from underground British Jewish brigades, like my father and his friends, fighting in North Africa, to avert Nazi invasion of Israel, killing all the 500,000 Israelis that were there in 44, 45. And we're here today enjoying peace and tranquility. But in Israel, there's still bleeding and a lot of wounded, still wounded. So let's do the prayer, יזכור, for the memorializing Israeli fallen heroes. יזכור אלוהים את נשמות בניו גיבוריו, חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, שנפלו במלחמות ישראל, בפעולות ההגנה, תגמול וביטחון, בעת מילוי תפקידם. נשמות כל לוחמי המחתרת, חטיבות הלוחמים במערכות העם, שחירפו נפשם למות על קדושת השם. ובעזרת אלוהי מערכות ישראל, הביאו לתקומת האומה, המדינה, לגאולת הארץ, ועיר האלוהים. מנשרים קלו, מאריות גברו, בהיחלצם לעזרת העם, והיוו בדמם הטהור את רגבי אדמת קודשנו. זכר עקדתם ומעשה גבורתם לא יסופו מאיתנו לעולמים. תהיינה נשמותיהם צרורות בצרור החיים, עם נשמות אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ובשאר גיבורי ישראל וקדושיו שבגן עדן. May God remember the souls of these heroic children, the fighters of the Israeli Defense Forces who fell in the wars of Israel in defensive, retaliative and security actions and during the fulfillment of their duty, including the souls of underground fighters, brigades who fought in the national struggle, all those who sacrificed their life for the sanctification of God's name. And with help of God, the Lord of Israel campaigns that brought about the revival of the nation and the state to the redemption of the land of the city of God. They were quicker than eagles, stronger than lions, as they volunteered to assist the nation, and they saturated our holy land with their pure blood. The memory of their self-sacrifice and heroic deeds will never disappear from us. May their soul be bound in the bond of life with the soul of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and with the souls of other heroes and martyrs of Israel in the name and the Garden of Eden. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Stay well, okay?
We are very honored to have Tzachi here. He is one of those brave souls who defended the land of Israel from aggression. When he said that we were lucky that we managed to survive, I remember a comment by Jimmy Connors after a big match that he just barely won. And the sports commentator said, "You know, Jimmy, you were really lucky to win that match." And he said, "You know, I found that the more I practice, the luckier I get." An incredible amount of skill and bravery was demonstrated by the Israeli soldiers, not just in the War of 73, but since the beginning, facing great odds. And we also know, sadly, that there were many times when the United States could have offered more help, could have spared more lives, and chose not to, coming to the rescue maybe when it was almost too late, and then holding off the Israeli army from destroying the forces that tried to destroy them with diplomacy. Very often because of interests having to do with our dependence on oil. I hope that in the future the United States, including the present party in power, will make sure that the whole world knows that we are not neutral in this fight, that we do take sides, and that we will side with right and with truth and with justice and with democracy and with the only land in the Middle East where women are treated with dignity and where you can criticize the government and live to talk about it. Let us, as we hear this prayer being read by Tzachi, let us pledge to use our influence in the United States to influence our politicians on both sides of the aisle, to continue to support Israel, and to do so even more than ever before. We continue with our service. Yizkor is brief. Following a few prayers, we are left with moments of silence to think about those who are closest to us. What should we do during those moments? How should we best remember those who no longer walk this earth? During these silent moments, let's take a journey into the hearts of our loved ones. Close your eyes and imagine walking into a room, perhaps a room in the home in which you grew up. Now shut the door and envision your beloved father or mother, husband or wife, sister or brother, son or daughter, other relative or friend. Look into their eyes, touch their hands, and feel their skin. Listen to their voice. Let's speak with our loved ones. What do we want to say that we didn't when they were alive? Perhaps we will introduce them to the child they never met, or show them how their little grandchild has grown since they left. Maybe we will say, "Thank you for all you did." We might apologize for hurting them, or grant them forgiveness. Or we might simply say, "I love you and miss you so very, very deeply." During these moments, see them, hear them, touch them, and make peace with yourself and your loved ones. Then you will have transformed these ordinary moments into sacred moments. The El Moleh Rachamim. El Moleh Rachamim, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, בעולמות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר רקיע מהזהירים, את נשמות כל אלה שהזכרנו היום לברכה, שהלכו לעולמם. ענה בעל הרחמים, תסתירם בסתר כנפיך לעולמים. ותיצחו בצחו החיים את נשמותיהם, וינוחו על משכבותם בשלום ונאמר אמן. זיכרונם לברכה. May their memory be a blessing. Now we're going to take a few moments to take a look at your memorial books. Take a look at some of these prayers, or offer other prayers that your heart may prompt. Let us spend a few moments in meditation. If you look in the memorial books, you will find some wonderful passages. One of them is written by my dad. Others are from our tradition. One is written by me. I hope you'll take these home with you and look them over from time to time. We have various rituals that remind us of our loved ones. One of them is the Yahrzeit candle. Yahrzeit is Yiddish, means the time of year. And the candle is a rather ubiquitous symbol in many religious traditions. It's important to the Jewish people because on Shabbat we have two candles. They say it represents Zachor v'Shamor. The two things said about the Sabbath, that you should remember it and you should keep it. I like to think in terms also of the two lights being the light of reason and the light of love. Emet v'Tzedek, shining together. On Hanukkah, the candle reminds us that anybody with a good idea can take that idea and share it with others and spreads, and before you know it, that idea can overcome the most powerful army on earth, the Assyrian Greeks, who were defeated by a small group of Jews with a big idea. And then we also have the Yahrzeit candle. It reminds us that that flame does something rather interesting. It's not a physical object, that flame. No, it's a process. It's a process of transmuting matter into energy. And you can look at God that way too. It's not a thing or an it, it's a process. It's a creative process that's going on. And we're part of that. We're physical beings, but we also can channel energy and give off energy in the form of love and warmth and friendship. So the candle reminds us a bit of our essence. And also, with a candle, if you take a candle and light a second one, now you got two flames. You haven't lost anything, you've doubled. And the same is true with us. When we give love to someone else, we end up with more love in our heart. When you give inspiration and knowledge, you end up with more. And the people who give away the most love are the ones who have the most in their heart. And those who are very stingy with their love are always measuring, how much am I going to get, or what am I going to get from this? They're sadly the ones without much love in their heart. We think of our parents, our grandparents, our loved ones, our dear ones who gave freely of their love. And the candle also reminds us that if you light a flame and blow out the first one, the second one keeps burning. The source of the flame might not be visible anymore, but the influence is alive and well and keenly felt. And that influence is with us today. And if our loved ones could be here right now, and if they could offer a comment to us, I suspect they would say, do not be saddened by the fact that I'm not here. Be gladdened by the fact that I shared my life with you, and they would want us to be happy, and they would want us to be joyous every time we think of them, especially because they left us behind a GPS, a guiding parental spirit, which is a little voice that gives us directions when we're lost, helps us to find our destination, and is always available anytime we decide to get rid of all the noise and the clutter around us and we just pay attention. We can always hear that voice sending us a message. And now to send you a congregational message, it's my pleasure to call up Sharon Leibovitz.
Stand higher. Good afternoon, good Yontif. It's indeed my pleasure to stand before you this afternoon as the gates begin to close on this Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. These services have been in the planning stages for over 6 months. I've lived them every day in the midst of a pandemic with many unknowns. Can we hold live services this year? What if at the last minute the school cancels us? Should we do the same as we did last year? Should we just do them virtual? Oy vey, it was just too many decisions. Well, we decided to do the live services, and here we are today. We persevered in spite of it all, and I'm very glad that I'm here to see all of you, and those of you who are out online, we'll see you soon, I hope to. I want to thank all those that had a hand in the planning of execution of these High Holy Day services. They inspired us and moved us and uplifted us. Rabbi Barry Silver, cantorial soloist Rose Lopater, Dr. Lloyd Mims, cantorial soloist Carol Garrett, Lonnie White, our pianist, Diana and Alberto Zilberstein, the videographers Arnie Pickholtz, our president Sandy Lopater, who does so much for us, Suzanne Burstein, Joel Brusso, Hannah Klingsberg, all of our ushers and setup teams, thank you. Our Lador Vidor board, my husband Eduardo, and anyone else I might have missed, I apologize. We could not have done this without all of these people as a team. Thank you, Toda Rabah. The gates begin to close on this day and special holiday as we consider and contemplate what these high holy days mean to each of us and what we will take away from these beautiful services. We have yet another year to recreate ourselves better than we were, to rid ourselves of old and bad habits, to become better friends, to become better spouses, to become better parents, to become better grandparents, to become better mentors. What do the High Holy Days mean to Va-Dor? That is a much tougher question. We have reinvented our congregation over the past 18 months to continue to provide needed services and camaraderie to our members and our community, virtually and safely. We offer everything from creative Shabbat services every week, weekly Torah study sessions with the rabbi and sometimes two rabbis, services for holidays and observances, discussions on current events and controversial issues. Sorry. Weekly Torah study sessions, services for holidays and observances, discussions on current events and controversial issues, candidate forums, films, education, and more, all available virtually online for you. We will also hold an outdoor Simchas Torah service and celebration for all on Sunday, September 26th at 6 p.m. at the West Boynton Park, and we hope to see you all there celebrating with us. But all of this cannot continue without your support and assistance. We need you to become a part of Va-Dor, to play an active role in its existence, providing the ingredients for a successful future for us, ensuring that our congregation will continue to serve the Judaic needs of our members and our community for now and for years and years to come. Without you, we stay as is. With you and your families and your friends, we can grow, we can be vibrant, we can be alluring and exciting, and we can be a place to serve and be for all ages, children through adults. So to this end, we present our most intriguing offer of membership, which a few of you, I'm glad to hear, have taken us up on. We are discounting it by $125 per person. Plus, if you've purchased your High Holiday ticket, you can apply that as well. If this is not the sweetest deal around, then perhaps you'll consider what you gain from these services, whether in person or online. And please put a dollar value to this feeling, this inspiration, this uplifting, and make a donation to Va-Dor from your heart so that we can provide you, our members and our community and others, more of this intangible feeling for many futures to come. Give what you can, and we will appreciate it so much. Va-Dor provides inspiring words, messages, song, and music. It's a Judaism where we can see with both our eyes open the truth and reason of our religion. A Judaism that wishes to unite all Jews together as one. And our Tova and our traditions are held in great respect and admiration. Let's together bring about this new form of Judaism, a rational Judaism, as we call it, inspirational Judaism, and share it with the world so that they too can become enlightened with this new, appealing, and engaging Judaism. As the gates begin to close, let's all unite in peace and harmony and join to create and share this Judaism for tomorrow, today. And let's do it together with Va-Dor. Soon the shofar will be sounded. announcing the end of Yom Kippur services for yet another year. Let's really hear the shofar this evening and listen to its cry as a plea for us to become a part of and play an active role in this congregation, Va-Dor, to ensure that Va-Dor will live on from generation to generation for many years into the future. I thank you all. I wish you and your loved ones a happy, a healthy, a peaceful New Year 5782. Shalom and much love and happiness to all of you. Lashana Tova.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I appreciate all you do and those beautiful words that you shared with us. It was the dream of my father to offer a type of Judaism that reached out to people of all religions and also did not insult the rational mind. Today, many Jews have gone elsewhere for spirituality or meaning in their life. And we on Yom Kippur need to ask, what have we done wrong? Why is this happening? If all that changes this year is our technology and our delivery system for how we convey Judaism, then we will have failed, because religion clearly is failing. It is failing to attract the excitement of our youth. It's also failing to cure the problems of the destruction of the planet and harm and war and conflict between people. It needs to change in more than just the technology. It needs to be infused with reason and with the revelations of science. Besides my father, the two greatest role models that I know of in the scientific world in the 20th century were Carl Sagan and Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein predicted the coming one day of a religion he called cosmic religion. He said one day that'll happen, and Jews and all people, instead of being narrowly focused on their own tribe, will look at religion as a way to unite the world in love and peace and connect us with the entire cosmos. That day, my friends, is today. In cosmic Judaism, also referred to as inspirational Judaism, we have a way of communicating that to people of all ages who can be approached through their rational minds and their spirituality. Carl Sagan also predicted that one day religion would tap into the awe and wonder and truth-finding apparatus of science, and he also referred to the cosmos. We invite you to join with us and to explore this form of Judaism that can help Judaism meet the needs of the next century. You know, in evolution, those species that are able to change survive. So I like to think of this type of Judaism as the survival of the Yiddish, the survival of the Jewish people by doing what we've always done since the beginning of Judaism, changing and adapting to modern times. This is not a type of Judaism that is an aberration. Freezing Judaism in the past, that's an aberration. That's un-Jewish. Updating, modernizing, using our minds to explore new avenues of spirituality, that, my friends, is what Judaism has been about since its inception. We continue now with the Ne'ilah. Let us read together. May the gates of redemption remain open to us, so that we may enter the realm of spiritual joy. As the sun sets and we pass through the final gates of this day, may we live with faith in our ability to improve our lives. Our tradition teaches that on Yom Kippur we emerge reborn. May our eyes be open to see justice. May our hands be open to do mitzvot. As the gates close, patach libi b'toratecha, let our hearts be open to wisdom. We remember, we bear our souls, we return. Forgive your neighbors the wrongs they have done you, and when you seek forgiveness, you can do so with a pure heart. If I nurse anger against others, can I seek pardon from those I have wronged? Let not the fierce sun dry one tear of pain before you have wiped the tears from the sufferer's eyes. For transgressions against ethical ideals, the Day of Atonement atones. But for transgressions of one human being against another, the Day of Atonement does not atone until they have made peace with one another. Please rise for the Tefillah Avot V'Imahot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sorah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Komer Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. זכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וכתבנו בספר החיים למענך אלוהים חיים מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. We now continue with the Kedusha.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzebaot, Melech kol haaretz kevodo.
אדיר אדירנו אדוני אלוהינו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ.
Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo.
אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו, לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה.
Please be seated. מודים אנחנו לך שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו ואלוהי כל בשר, יוצרנו יוצר בראשית, ברכות והודאות לשמך הגדול והקדוש, על שהחיתנו וקיימתנו, כי תחיינו ותקיימנו. אדוני אלוהינו ותאמצנו לשמור חוקיך, לעשות רצונך ולעבדך בלבב שלם. Baruch El HaHodaot. For the glory of life and for its wonder we give thanks. We rejoice in goodness and compassion forever. We continue with the Ritzeh.
Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ve'amecha Yisrael. O tefilatan be'ahav etabel
May we work towards peace, our most precious gift, and may we have the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Let us labor for righteousness so that we may write a new chapter in our book of life of blessing and peace. The Shalom Rav. May Israel know enduring peace, prosperity, and acts of loving kindness, and may Israel continue to share these blessings with the world. Fashioned in the image of the sacred, we seek forgiveness for not living up to our highest potential. Our souls tremble as we realize how fortunate we are to be blessed with the gift of life. May we learn to overcome our sins, our dishonest ways, and be pardoned as the gates begin to close. Let us find refuge and protection from the power of truth and kindness as the gates begin to close. May the eyes of the wicked be opened. May the hearts of those who wage war be turned as the gates begin to close. We stand in awe before the daily miracles which surround us and lie within us. May the hearts of mothers and fathers turn towards each other and their children in love as the gates begin to close. Stand in awe before the daily miracles which surround us and lie within us. May we proclaim a year of favor, honor, and glory for the Jewish people, as seekers of peace as the gates begin to close. We stand in awe before the daily miracles which surround us and lie within us. May Jews who may have gone astray remember the glory of our past and rejoin our people as a kingdom of priests. We stand in awe before the daily miracles which surround us and lie within us. May we tap into this awesome power to take up our role as the hope of mankind and the source of peace and blessings. My dad used to play around with the word nu. Avinu. Malkeinu, it means our Father, our God. And in French, nous means us or we. It means that we come together collectively to seek atonement and to recharge our batteries as a Jewish people. Nu also is a Yiddish word. Nu? Nu? When are you going to make those changes you've talked about? When are you going to actually implement what you know you should be doing? Nu? And also new means that we should try to do things in a new way, not get stuck in a rut. New has so many different meanings. And someone came up to me after I said this and he said, I never knew that. So now we're going to read responsively. Avinu Malkeinu, I ask you to please rise for this part of our service. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lifanecha. Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu V'Yalal Aleinu V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu Kalei Dever V'Cherev V'Rav Mei Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu Kalei Kul Tzar U'Mastin Mei Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu Katvenu B'Sefer Chayim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu V'Yanenu Ki En Banu Ma'asim Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu V'Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu V'Aneinu, Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim. Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed. Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Yoshienu. Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed. Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed Oshienu.
Rachum v'chanun, chatanu lifanecha, rachem aleinu, adon haslichot, bochen levavot, gule amukot, dover tzedakot, chatanu lifanecha, rachem aleinu. Please be seated. We read responsively. Now as evening falls, light dawns within us, hope and trust revive. The shadow that darkened our spirit has vanished, and through the passing cloud there breaks, with the last rays of the setting sun, the radiance of forgiving peace. How can we find words to give thanks for the gift of life which defies the odds? And how can words be fitting thanks? We will give thanks by giving our lives purpose. We offer the work of our hands and use our voice to give hope. Then shall our souls rejoice and sing. Our grief will turn to joy. We shall be released from anguish, and our hearts will be uplifted. We're now going to continue with the Aleinu. I ask you to stand once again for this part of our service, continuing with the Kaddish.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חכינו הם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We now come to the very important part of the Yom Kippur observance. That is the reading of the Kaddish. Before I read the Kaddish, I want to mention that there are two words in Hebrew for those who have passed on. One is mit. It's used when you play a game of chess and you say shach mat or check mate. The shach is dead, and that's also in Hebrew as well. It's related to the Spanish matar, or the English mortal, and it means that they're gone forever. There's another word, niftar, in Hebrew. Niftar means someone who's passed from one realm to another. Their lives live on. We heard the prayer said for the Israeli soldiers. They're niftar because they lived for something beyond their own personal needs and desires. They gave their lives for a holy purpose, and they live on in the state of Israel. The same is true with all of our loved ones who have done good things in their life, and we have to ask ourselves, are we going to be niftar? Are we going to be someone who thinks about things beyond just our own personal needs, so that when we pass on, they will say of us, they're not gone forever. Their influence lives on. That's our goal today as we read this Kaddish and remember our loved ones. I also wanted to share with you before we read the Kaddish, not sure if I'll make it all the way through, but as I mentioned, one of my heroes was Carl Sagan. He had a horrible form of cancer, and the prime of his life, really, when he was otherwise very healthy, suddenly came down with it. And he wrote a book called Billions and Billions, in which he actually described his ordeal and his reflections on it. Just wanted to read a couple of paragraphs that he wrote. 6 times now have I looked death in the face, and 6 times death has averted his gaze and let me pass. Eventually, of course, death will claim me as he does each of us. It's only a question of when and how. I've learned much from our confrontations, especially about the beauty and sweet poignancy of life, about the preciousness of friends and family, about the transforming power of love. In fact, almost dying is such a positive, character-building experience that I'd recommend it to everybody. Except, of course, for the irreducible and essential element of risk. Some of us have gone through that experience and are able to understand how precious every day of life is. The purpose of Yom Kippur is to experience what Carl Sagan's talking about. It's a spiritual death in which we simulate our own death so that we can then be reborn and appreciate life without the irreducible element of risk. And when we contemplate that each day is precious and each day is a gift, then as we read the Kaddish, we realize the true meaning. It never mentions the word death. In fact, it's not even Hebrew, it's Aramaic. It never mentions death. It mentions debt. The debt of gratitude for this gift of life, the debt of gratitude to people who gave us life and who nourished and loved us, the debt of gratitude to all the miracles. It has words in it. Yiskadal, this creative power, is great. Kadash, it's holy. Yispa'al, it's wondrous. Yishadar, it's spectacular, it's awesome, and it should be praised. So let us now, in memory of all of those who gave us so much, let us together read the Kaddish. Yiskadal, Yiskadash, Shemei Rabba. V'yomad yivrach rusei v'yamlich ma'chusei. V'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayedachol beis Yisrael. V'agalav yizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba mivorach l'olam umei umaya. Yisbarach v'yistabach v'yispoar v'yischomam v'yisnaseh. V'yisadar v'yisaleh v'yisalah Shemei Kedusha B'rechu. Le'elam in kol berchasa v'shirasa. Tush b'chasa v'nechamasa. Da'am yochon v'yoma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shmaya v'chayim. Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. V'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. Now we have the Shema. We read together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Adonai Hu HaElohim. 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 On my copy, I think on yours also, if you notice the ayin in Shema and the dalid in Echad are a little bit bigger than the other letters. You might be wondering, is that a misprint or a mistake? No. The ayin and the dalid spells ad, which means forever. It also spells witness, which means that the Jewish people are called upon to be a witness to the unity of all living things within this world and within the cosmos. That is our mission as Jews. Now we have the final benediction. May the day soon come when the religions of the world will be transformed from the tribal to the global, uniting all people on earth to work together to save our planet from the ravages of climate change, habitat loss, overpopulation, and war. May this goal become our highest moral obligation. May the continued exploitation of our planet be viewed as the worst form of sacrilege, blasphemy, and crimes against nature. May we learn to understand that there is a creative power in this world indeed, and it is manifest in art, science, music, sports, nature, and love for all creatures with whom we share this pale blue dot, as well as a smile of Earth's creatures contemplating the joy of being alive. Now it is my pleasure to call up Sharon Leibovitz for the blast of the shofar, as well as Arnie Pickholtz and Sachi Gadish.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kitshana b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'shemo kol shofar, v'shechachiyanu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, shehachiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Tekiah. Shavarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shavarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah Gedolah. Mazel Tov. Lashana Tova.
Excellent. A dynamic duo on the shofar. I can only say about these services and their performance. Shofar, so good. Thank you very much. We're going to now have Ba Shana Haba'ah. But before they do, I just want to tell you, the shofar starts out pure, and then it's interrupted with breaks. And our lives are like that. We start out pure, we get interrupted, and how does it end? The Jewish confidence in the purity of our souls. It ends with Tekiah Gedolah, coming back stronger than ever before, I hope this year. As we emerge from here in this pandemic with all the problems we see around us, I hope it'll only make us stronger, and we will come back even more pure and strong and ready to fight the battles to make this world a better place. And the indomitable spirit of the Jew is reflected in Bashana Haba'ah. Next year, you watch. Things will be better. Bashana Haba'ah.
Bashana Haba'ah neshel al hamirpeset v'nizpor siporim nodedot ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות ותראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה
Lishana Tova tikatevu v'techatemu. Which I believe will be sung for us now by Rose Lishana Tova Tikatev.
Lishana Tova Tikatevu, Lishana Tova Tikatevu, Tikatevu, Tikatevu.
I want to thank everybody for joining us this Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. It's a privilege to be here with you to welcome the new year. Hope this is a really great year for everybody. Hope it's going to be a year of good health and happiness and spiritual fulfillment. Hope to see you in the future. We will be doing outdoor services, and Va-Dor, when this pandemic ends, will be in a place of our own. And we hope that you will be part of allowing that wonderful day to happen, and that you will be part of building the Judaism of tomorrow, today. Lishana Tova.